Yes. Oh, you know what that sound means. Time for In the Paddock F1, Greeny and the Cheese. Round 12 of the 2024 F1 season. The halfway point there, Michael, takes us to the home of Formula One with the first race of Formula One was held. That's right, we're back at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. Silverstone, an old World War II airfield, built on the border of Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire. Of course, Northamptonshire is known for that 900 years of making them shoes. You get Doc Martens there. Did you have a pair back in high school, Michael?
I had a pair of Doc Martens back in high school. I think like everyone else. Sometimes you cave to the pressure.
Oh, you were a punk rocker. It was a requisite part of your attire to have Doc Martens. So of course you did. And then there's, of course, Buckinghamshire, known for the British film industry. Personal favorites of mine that were filmed there. James Bond movie, and of course Star Wars. You got anything, Michael?
Blood sausage. Sounds gross. Don't sleep on it. And fried fish. How do you not love fried fish? You're not a fried fish fan, but, you know. Anyway.
This ain't no travel show. This is an F1 show. We're racing the iconic Silverstone circuit. 3.66 miles, 18 corners, 2 DRS zones. We give it the full beans for 67% of your lap. And Silverstone never disappoints, boys and girls. Never disappoints. That British summer weather never disappoints because it adds that little extra spice that you need for a solid race. The little slick conditions, a true racer's race. And Lewis Hamilton, 2.5 years, gets his first win, his 9th at Silverstone, the only driver ever to have 9 wins at a circuit.
Any
Max
track.
takes second, any track. Max takes second, Lando takes third. We're caffeinated, we're medicated. Greeny, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, man. It was, once again, the race that we always ask for, where it's like one mistake can change the day. We saw it with McLaren today. One mistake can really change the day, and that's all I think we want out of Formula One here. We want one thing going wrong can change the entire landscape of a race. And today we saw it. We saw it last week. Really, the difference between a 4-second pit stop and a 2-second pit stop makes an entire world of difference. Strategy matters. Mm-hmm. It's not just put Max in the rocket car and let him go and beat everyone. And before that, honestly, we talked about it last time, we really had Lewis Hamilton for a solid 7 years. We just put him in the car and let him go, and he's going to win. And before that, we had Seb Vettel. And before that, we had, we really had that transition for a couple of years. We had Fernando, we had, Jenson Button and Lewis's first titles between there. But we had Schumacher before that, and we really rarely get to see this competitive racing. So wherever you are right now, I don't know what next season's going to bring, but it looks like for the rest of 2024, we might have the most competitive season that we've had in 15 years. And this might disappear. So don't take it for granted, because we might see this for a couple years, and then we might see Alpine dominate, for 8 years. Who knows what's going to happen? So enjoy while it lasts, boys and girls. And again, if you haven't told your friends, thank you all for listening. We haven't even put out an episode in July, and we're already more downloads than we've had all summer last year. So thank you all. Cheese doesn't even know that yet. So thank you all. It's been absolutely amazing. You have told your friends. Continue to tell your friends. And new listeners, thank you so much for joining us. InThePaddockUSA@gmail.com. Hit us up. We'd love to hear from you, good, bad, ugly, or anything. And that's all I got, man. Cheese, how do you feel about probably your favorite racetrack? Potentially. Top 3 for sure. Yeah. I texted you this morning, happy Silverstone Day. Was it a happy Silverstone Day?
Oh, yeah, it did disappoint. You had racing all over the place, especially at the front. There was just track slicked up, and things everybody started changing back and forth. Full excitement, strategy at the end, Max coming hard. on the better tire choice. Just full excitement. I mean, that's your 6th different winner of the year. How about that?
How about that? And make it Lewis Hamilton to be number 6.
And make it Lewis Hamilton to be number 6. Lewis winning after 2.5 years, his last British Grand Prix in a Mercedes. Just absolutely epic. Just epic race. Just fantastic. That's weather throws that extra little spice in there. It's a real racers win, especially with the slick conditions. Teams either made the right call or the wrong call. Some teams made wrong calls. I mean, McLaren probably should have had Lando on that fresh set of mediums they had there at the end. Lando probably should have won the race, to be dead honest. You throw Lando on those mediums and he's gone. Long pit stop at the end for McLaren as well. I mean, it's on. And right now, I'd have to say, McLaren probably has the best car, package-wise. I think that package is better than the Red Bull at this point. So, and they've probably thrown away 2 wins, including, this one and another one probably, making the wrong call or making, an error in the pits or something.
Absolutely.
Not even including, last week. Not even including last week. They've probably, the one race that they have won, they pretty much got lucky on that with the safety car and the way that worked out. So they've kind of thrown away a couple victories, but I think we both had it in our picks. We both had Lewis to win the race.
Crazy, man. Crazy.
I mean, when you looked at it going in later, a little weather, you were going to look at Lewis is up front. He'll do it.
Lewis Hamilton isn't just the best driver to ever drive at Silverstone. He is the best driver to drive at any particular track ever, being at Silverstone. So, you felt it coming. You felt something special coming. You felt it building last week with Mercedes' resurgence and showing that, yes, they are here to stay. Toto Wolff, man, that was 2.5 years of holding your freaking breath. That's a long time to hold, and it looked like it. It looked like he was holding his breath for 2.5 years. I've never seen that man smile, ever.
No.
And I feel that even though George Russell won last week, I feel that Toto Wolff understands he made a mistake. He made a mistake when they brought George Russell in and made him equal to Lewis Hamilton, and I've talked about this before. It was not okay. Lewis Hamilton's the greatest, if not one of the greatest, if not the greatest Formula One driver of all time. Potentially the best driver that has ever lived in competitive sport. Potentially, right?
He's the GOAT.
So
Lewis is the GOAT.
So with that, you put someone like George Russell, who hadn't won jack shit at that point, and you put him in a situation where you're equal to Lewis Hamilton. How is Lewis not going to get offended? How is Lewis not going to pull the rug right before opening day of 2024, opening weekend of 2024?
Well, no, that's not even a mistake. The mistake was they only offered Lewis Hamilton a 1-year deal instead of a multi-year deal. That was the whole thing. He went to Ferrari because they gave him multiple years. Mercedes was only going to give him 1. They wanted to go 1 year, 1 year. So Lewis said, adios, amigos.
Yeah, because they held George Russell as an equal to Lewis Hamilton, and that was a mistake. And I think Toto Wolff understands that and understood that afterwards and understood all the mistakes he made. Just because he's the boss doesn't mean he's not going to make mistakes. And be a little contrite here. And I think it was great for everyone. I think Lewis is probably looking at Ferrari as, maybe a little bit, maybe. And maybe thinking he made the wrong decision, especially over the last couple of weeks. But we'll see what happens. It was a long season. We are only at halftime. And anything else to add about the highlights of this race before we get into some other portions of the program, sir?
That was just a great race. Especially you got to see that all at the front. I mean, some drivers that finished in the top 10, you'd even see them on camera all day, because of all the action you had up front.
In the front, we always say nobody cares about the battle for 12th.
Nope.
Which goes from the most exciting part of our week, being the Formula One race, to the most exciting part of Cheese's week, where he gets to utterly humiliate me in once around the track in Quizmaster's cockpit. All the glory in the world as he cocks his head and enjoys being the Quizmaster once again. Might need a new Quizmaster one day here. But let's do it?
No.
Let's go.
Are you ready, sir?
The bell is ready, but I don't know if I need it within arm's length.
I'm going to say you're not going to need it at all this week again.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Russell was the first British driver, other than Lewis Hamilton, to take pole since who?
I don't think Jensen Button never had pole. Was it Button?
Is that your final answer? You locking that in?
Can't think of anyone else off the top of my head. Nigel Mansell?
Is that your answer? You locking it in?
That'll be my answer.
That is incorrect. Damon Hill in 96.
Damon Hill. That was my... Oh, my God. Yeah, I was like 1 year off. I think 94. Close. Closer than you thought I would get.
Yeah, but close doesn't count.
Close doesn't count. There ain't no horseshoes. There ain't no hand grenades. All right.
So as per the usual, we're off to a flying start. When was the last time the British Grand Prix was not held at Silverstone?
1986?
That is correct. Wow. Didn't think you're getting that.
Well, I mean, the first year was 87 at Silverstone, so... Well, since 87 we've been here, so...
Question 3. Who is the only driver to win the British Grand Prix from the pit lane?
Ooh. I have no freaking idea. Nigel Mansell.
That is incorrect. That would be Michael Schumacher.
I was gonna say Schumacher just because I knew it was Lewis Hamilton.
The controversial finish in '98.
That's right, '98. That's right.
So that's 2 out of 3 missed. Therefore, you are a loser, and that'll take us right to losers. There was a heap this week. Leclerc, again, the team giving him some awful strategy moves, putting him on the wrong tire at the wrong time. Again, did the same thing in Canada. Disaster. The Ferrari summer swoon is on, boys and girls. The toilet bowl is on. Because that's another disaster. They're putting on the old spec pieces now because their upgrades were trash. It's a mess. It's a mess now in Maranello. Man, jeez, I don't even know who else. There's just a giant amount of them. Let's go Alpine, 16th, with Ocon 20th, with Gasly. Didn't even get to start the race. Got called in on the formation lap. Disastrous. I'll stop there, but there's a list. There's a list.
Danny Rick, once again, is now all of a sudden went from in talks to trading off with Sergio Perez and ending up in the Red Bull to getting outclassed by Yuki all weekend. it was a tough one for Danny. I mean, every time he takes a step forward, he takes another step backwards. And I really feel that he's just not of the age to be able to take those multiple steps forward. And I'm really amazed by the gap between these F2 drivers and other drivers around the world that can't fill in these spots. They're not even talking about it. They're talking about, like, early in the season, bringing Seb back, keeping with Danny Rick. I just think you lose a step, and it's okay. It's okay, especially when you leave the sport. It's just, do we want good drivers or do we want name brands? And I think you give an opportunity to a younger guy, other younger guys who have been, competitive in F2 that can come up. Especially for these, lower cars. I don't know. I mean, between Zhou and Bottas, I don't know who's worse. They try to, Zhou was ahead, I think, more competitive over the weekend, and then, Bottas beats him out. I thought Zhou would actually, be decent this weekend. I didn't think he would score points, but definitely a little better because he was good all weekend, really, until the actual race, and he just blew it again. Sauber is terrible. It's an absolute joke. Just zero competition, especially now with Williams getting on the board. Now you're in the back of the train, man. You're in the caboose. You better let it loose. Because every other team has gained some success at some point this season. And Sauber is just not. You should call yourself Kick, because you should kick yourself in the ass and get going here. Because it is a competition of who's worse between these two drivers. And those are my losers.
All right, well, let's take us to winners then.
Winners. Chicken dinners.
We got winner chicken dinners. Aston Martin, 7th and 8th. We're expected to struggle. Solid finish is 7th and 8th.
Home track advantage.
Home track. Put up or shut up, especially at your home race. Alex Albon, 9th.
Hell yeah.
Another points finish.
Hell yeah, Williams off the schneid.
I'll stop there. Who you got, son?
I know you won't give him to him, but Carlos Sainz?
Yeah.
Still damn competitive, finishing 5th, starting 7th. Leclerc was out to lunch all freaking weekend, man. Out to lunch. I don't know what's going on. I mean, this guy's future teammate just dominated. And what the hell are you doing? Carlos Sainz is obviously trying to get a seat somewhere and put himself in a better situation because he completely blew it with all of his big-time options, and now he's looking at small-time options. I don't know if he thought Alpine was Williams auditioning.
Maybe he's got a shot with Red Bull again. You never know.
You never know at this point. I mean, everything's up in the air. It's wild. The whole thing's wild. But Carlos Sainz, just through all of that, it's a tough week right now mentally because the media's been hounding him, and to finish 5th, really, he's in a tough spot. I think we talked about it last week. His agent screwed him. My agent screwed me. It's kind of true. You can't think about signing next year and drive. You can't. That's why you hire people to do these things. And he's taking the heat for it. No one says, "Oh, don't look at my agent." So you got to give him credit for that. But to come out and finish 5th through all that shit, that's great. Nico, of course, everyone knew I was going to talk about Nico. Once again, man. Once again. He woke up. And you know what? I think Nico is working above his pay grade because just consistently K-Mag, who isn't terrible at times, isn't always terrible, but right now, I don't know if Nico's massively outperforming the car or K-Mag should not be in Formula One anymore. I don't know where we're at, but damn, Nico. Who saw that coming? Again. Usually when Haas is on their game like that, they usually don't repeat. They usually don't have to,
change their culture.
So,
Komatsu's come in and changed the culture of Haas.
and does this make Gunter Steiner look bad? Or does he not
Absolutely.
care? Sitting in his mansion by the beach somewhere, not giving a F.
He probably doesn't care, but
No. Money can do that to you. You know, make you not care about stuff. And those, of course, are my winners. Which leads us, sir, to one thing, and one thing only.
I need to slap my goddamn self for that.
You got it? I got it?
take it away, sir.
Oh,
That's yours.
look at you. Graciously. I'm going to give it to Red Bull this week for actually retroactively slapping yourself, because I think I slapped myself when I heard that Red Bull signed an extension with Sergio Perez early in the season. Why? What, is Sergio going to go somewhere else and you're going to cry about it? Like, what was going on? And this abysmal performance where he was a lap behind Charles Leclerc as well, but we already went over that, but he was a lap behind, multiple laps behind. What the hell? What the hell is going on? Besides the pit lane start, which obviously
got stuck in
we knew.
Q1 and quali.
Off the immediately red flagged. Just a disaster. It's not an anomaly when it happens every single race. It's no longer an anomaly. It's not. And I think half the season, we're at half the season. Where is he in the standings? I'm sorry. I need a second here. Give me a moment. F1 standings. F1 standings 2024. Where is he? Where are you? Sergio Perez is 6th. Behind Piastri, Sainz, Leclerc, Norris, and Max Verstappen. And George Russell's knocking at the door, so is Lewis Hamilton. And I don't see a way where the Mercedes 7 and 8 points behind Sergio Perez are not going to pass him in the next two races. No. That's going to put him in 8th. 8th! Mm-hmm. 8th! Sergio Perez. Down the home stretch. I just don't see a scenario right now where they're not going to make those points up in at least the next two races for Mercedes. And both Mercedes continuously finishing ahead. We bitched and complained about how bad he was when he was second last year. When he was second. He's going to be in 8th. That's bananas, dude. And they're stuck
Helmut
with
Marko's
him.
not going to like that. Helmut Marko's not going to like that.
I mean, that just blows your mind. Only because, you know, as we complain about Max Verstappen, how about this? The gap between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, as Max's season is falling apart, quote unquote, here, is still 84 points. 84 points. Which is almost as many points as Sergio has. That's the gap between first and second right now. So there's still a massive gap. Max Verstappen is not losing the 2024 season. Which means, when's the last time you saw a driver, especially a champion, any driver, and their teammate finishing 7 spots different and racing every race? I can't think of one that raced every single race and finished 7 places potentially different between where their teammates were. Jeez, put that in perspective for me, because that just blows my freaking mind.
Did Sergio, to put it honestly, just kind of stinks.
You can't even get the words out.
Yes. In the paddock F1 Green to Cheese. Best damn sound of the week. Time to take that fantasy ride to that fantasy island of Greentopia, where the beer flows like wine and the wine flows like beer. And the cannabis? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, boys and girls. It grows as far as the eyes can see. Look at it out there. Look at it. Green and lush. Take a little whiff. That air smells fantastic. Take a little walk to the top of the hill. That casino at the top. Just like Monaco, baby. We cash in or we check it out.
I think we both had a cash in today. I actually have him since we came on the air. Since we came on the air here, we were recording this podcast shortly after the races, as we try to do for these 9, 10 a.m. races. So I got to go back in, but I know. Now, it looks like we both won Lewis Hamilton. I don't know what I thought you were going to laugh at me when I put Lewis Hamilton in, and then I saw you put Lewis Hamilton in as well, and I was shocked. How were you shocked when I put Lewis in, or
no?
I was curious because it was plus 400, which is a big number here.
Yeah.
So right there, that picks me up 500, but then I lose 200 on top of that, because I went with 2 McLarens on podium. We missed that. I was thinking I would have a Max Verstappen blow up, crash out or something, but he held his own today, at least maturity-wise, and didn't go back to the old Max, crazy Max, but ended up finishing second. Lance Stroll, top 6. He came in 7th, so you get nothing for that. You had Fernando Alonso, top 6. He came in 8th, so you get nothing for that. And 2 Mercedes on podium. It was funny because I was watching with my son, who's 10 and really doesn't understand Formula One much. He knows like the key players and knows the cars go around. But at this point, he's an NFL guy. I think he's about to put a podcast out himself, the 10-year-old's view of the National Football League. I will definitely promote that when it comes out. But, yeah, it was definitely astute observation. For him, I'm sorry, he said George Russell retired, and he was very concerned because he's never seen anyone, like, retire from their career in the middle. I'm like, no, just like the race, dude. He's like, that guy just retired? I guess it means something else here in the States than it does in the rest of the world. So, interesting story there as we're watching the race from a 10-year-old perspective. It does not mean the same retire. So, here we are. We both won the 1. We both lost the 2. You bet 50 greeny bucks, which gives you 250, but then you lose another 100, so you're plus 150. I'm plus 300, obviously, since we both won 1 and 2, but we had the high plus numbers. So, not bad. Let me do some math here. I apologize. Mathing up. And I have caught up by 150 greeny bucks. So I have 3,512. You have 4,260. It is a large gap of close to 700, but it was over 1,000 not that long ago. So we do have a whole entire half to catch up to that 700 greeny buck deficit. You've been slightly conservative, and I think for the first time in a while, the last couple of weeks, your conservatism versus my slightly more aggressive play is paying off a little for me. You are very hopeful that it will backfire in my face and my entire empire will crumble, and I will sure be cashing out or checking out and not cashing in for the rest of the 2024 season. Nothing would make you happier, sir.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right. So we're left with one thing before we take, I guess, a little bit of a break here. As we just did back-to-back shows, or back-to-back weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have
one
anything
thing,
for?
In the
news!
I got a lot for in the news, actually.
A lot? All right, go for it,
A lot,
man.
actually. Esteban Ocon has apparently signed a multi-year deal with Haas. Are you happy?
The Bearman Ocon kind of kept me up a little bit because I hate having a guy like Esteban, who I was praising a couple weeks ago for his tenacity. So maybe I'm wrong. Listen, the guy is intense. He's a jerk. And Ollie Bearman seems like a decent dude. It's going to be an interesting dynamic. It's almost like a movie. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Interesting dynamic. It's like you want to put like more of a let me bring you to my bosom kind of, number one driver in there for Ollie.
What do you want, a babushka?
Like, you want someone to like embrace him, kind of like George Russell would do with Kimmy next year.
Not an angry Frenchman that's going to say fuck off.
He's going to like George is going to like welcome him, I hope, more so, and kind of like be the mama hen that a young driver needs their partner to be. I don't think Esteban has that mama hen in him.
No.
Like George Russell has. Right? Do you get what I'm saying?
I can't believe we're having this discussion, to be dead honest, but all right.
All right, next story.
Ricardo's apparently been in talks with Williams, along with some other drivers. Will Ricardo remain in Formula One?
I mentioned it earlier. I don't. There's two perspectives on it. It's the marketing perspective of a name like Danny, who people know, people like, who people want to be around. He's a great presence, but he's teetering. He's teetering on the ability to race up to his standards. Is Visa Cash App, Red Bull Junior, a top 5 team this year or not? And Yuki's been racing as if they are, and Danny's been racing as if they're not. And that's a problem. That's a problem. And it's tough when you have talk about 6-8 months from now for a driver that's 34. So, that's also worrisome in many regards. So I don't know. Danny's been all over the place this week. He's been driving the Red Bull. He's been it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild, but it is silly, and the silly season has begun.
Silly season began before the season started, so
yeah, this is true. It's true. We have a whole episode about it. Go check it out.
Let's see next story. Apparently, Alpine is now in the lead to sign Carlos Sainz from a pitch that's been spearheaded by Flavio Briatore. How about that? Apparently, he's not just a sideline sitter like you would expected. He's making big pitches. Selling Carlos Sainz on Alpine's future. What's your thoughts on that?
I think they both had a couple nice bottles of vino. Maybe brought him up. Nice landscape overlooking the Mediterranean, potentially Atlantic. And he talked him into it. Because why would you want to go to Alpine? But why would you want to go to Williams? And I just don't understand why he didn't make a commitment earlier. When everyone's making the commitment early, you got to make it earlier. And now he's stuck in this situation. But I think wherever he ends up is going to be good for him. And he'll make an impact. But he's like a lost boy right now. And it's getting sad to watch because he's still, and I mentioned it earlier as I put him in the winners, and it's tough stuff. And I don't envy him at all. I don't think any driver envies this situation. I don't think anyone in any business who has to be in these situations of bidding themselves out for multi-year contracts, whether it's construction or whether it's the computer business, some developers are in these same situations. I've been in these situations where I have to decide over the next 3 years where I want to go or what I want to do, if I want to leave or go somewhere else. And I signed a multi-year contract myself. It's not easy. It's not easy, but you just do it. You do it. You make a freaking decision, and you do it, and you stick with it. You tough out the next 3 years, and that's all you do. And you try your best, and you do your best. So, yeah, he's doing his best right now. But I don't know.
All right.
That's
Final
my
story.
long-winded answer. He beat out Leclerc again, by the way.
He did. Well, I know this. You don't have to tell me.
I'm telling the audience so they're reminding of how crappy a situation Ferrari's finding itself in every single week.
I told you it's the summer swoon. They give you like a taste. They give you a taste at the beginning of the year. Yes, we're there. We're gonna win that world title. Look at us. We're there. We're fast. They give you that taste, and then it all falls apart. And then you're hooked on it. And then you're down. It's like getting hooked on heroin. They give you that taste. You're excited, and then you go down the bad rabbit hole, and then you're just bad news. Well, that's what Ferrari does to you every single year. The man says, just give me a taste. And you listen. Every year. And you go down a bad place.
All right. So, Haas is a day at the zoo, and Ferrari is black tar heroin.
That's about right about now, yeah.
This is a good comparison.
About right. Crackhead versus, happy family. So, all right, here we go. Final story. Brad Pitt's Formula One movie teaser was released during the British Grand Prix. Movie's going to be titled F1. Are you excited?
I wasn't excited. And then you watch the trailer where Brad Pitt's talking. It's like Ferrari, McLaren, Mercedes. You're like, whoa. If you heard it, if you didn't, it's 90 seconds or something. I caught the first 10 seconds of it. You're like, wow. It's there's always got to be time for a new champ. You're like, oh my God. Yes, there is. I don't even know what's going on right now, but I'm in. I don't know how good the movie's going to be. But that, 8 seconds.
I don't know. Some of that video for the racing scenes, and that's actually Brad Pitt driving a real Formula One car.
Yes,
After 3 months of training.
Which is wild.
Him driving the car with those camera angles looked pretty damn ridiculous. So look pretty good to me. I am down.
I don't know. I don't know how good it's going to be, but I will watch.
Probably put that in IMAX. It'll probably feel like a Disney ride. So why not? I'm
Absolutely.
Down.
We going?
Brad Pitt, fricky ever going. Just talking on the calendar. What's it, a year and a half till it comes out?
No, I think summer 25. So
summer 25. All right, there you go.
Bring steering wheels to the theater and just no.
We're going.
All right. Speaking of going, where are we going next, sir?
The Hungaroring. 2 weeks' time. A fortnight.
A fortnight from today.
So we go back to back. Hungary and then Spa right after. How about that?